Hey family, how you doing? It's Tasha, MAMABEAR Prepping. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the channel where we just talk about emergency preparedness, different things we do for me and my family, and hopefully that helps you with you and yours. Let's jump into it. Get your cup, pull up. Let's talk about it. We're going to be talking about, how do you disappear, if you will. How do you live a gray man lifestyle? What's the steps that you can do to taking and living off grid, self-sufficiency, not being tracked 24/7 with all the different technology we have, right? So how do you step back from that? How do you step back from all the hustle and bustle and start to live a little bit more private and a little bit more moving towards self-sufficiency? And so what I did was I came up with a list of stuff today that just makes sense to me as far as trying to detach yourself and your family from different things that are happening around us. A lot of us have an opinion about digital ID, and a lot of us have an opinion about digital currency and different programs that they want to implement, and, Great Reset and this and that, right? And so this kind of helps you think about some stuff to kind of get off the grid, if you will, on many different levels. And you'll see what I mean when I start talking, okay? So first thing I have, and this is no order, is getting your land and getting your piece of the pie, right? And owning that, not renting, not giving somebody else your hard-earned money, but getting some land and getting renewable resources. Land that has wood on it, has trees on it, timber, has water sources, whether that's a well, whether that's a creek, ponds, rivers, artisan wells, whatever it is, but there's multiple levels of water and renewable resources there on the land. It could be the renewable resource is animals and animal activity and stuff that you can hunt and eat and that type of thing, okay? But that's important. And that does not have to be some kind of fantastic, like you got to have 50 acres, you got to have 100 acres, you have to have at least 5 acres to do this. No, just get your little piece of heaven. This could be a half of an acre. We live on a half an acre right now. For us, it's not enough, but that's because we have bigger plans as far as animals are concerned, right? And we want to be able to space out and spread out a little bit, okay? But let me tell you, if at the end of the day we end up with new property and it's only an acre or 2, I'm going to be blessed. I'm going to feel blessed, and I'm going to be happy with this. So it does not matter. What's more important is that you get it, and that you get, that you buy it, that you get that land and you have that. Okay. If you are the type that's like, I can't move, it's impossible, get you some land. At least have land in somewhere that you could flee to, that you can go to, that you could live off of later. Okay. All right. Next thing I have is get private, right? Get private with your security around your home. This is simple stuff like fully fenced yard, right? You're stopping, viewing, basic viewing from that. Our neighbors gonna peer over fence lines? Yes. So think about privacy, and if they are doing so, they're looking through the fence, they're looking over the fence, they have a drone, whatever. They're being nosy, right? Where have you placed things? What have you done with things that you're allowing them to see in your backyard? Do not assume that you have a fence and people can't see what's in the back. So you should be strategically putting stuff and being private about the stuff that's on your property and that people can see, right? That's locks and gates, and people are nosy, right? If you don't have a gate, people just walk around, or even thieves just easily walking around, hopping fences, trying to see stuff. But having stuff locked up, being private about what people see, having cameras, whatever it is that you need to get private and not let people see stuff. This is opening the garage, and when you open the garage, what can people see? When you pull out every day with your car, what can they see, right? Just on the shelves, just on whatever. What stuff do you leave laying around, right, that people can take? I got a notification the other day, somebody was complaining that stuff was being stolen, and this one lady was complaining that like a shade, like those room divider shades, she had it outside, like around a little table, I guess, and it got stolen. And I was like, of course it did, right? It's not a normal outside thing. It was easily to grab. It wasn't behind any kind of gates or fence. It just was out, and people are thieves, and you can't trust anybody, right? And so it's privacy. Next thing I have is learn to shoot, right? Learn to protect yourself. And you might say, what does this have to do with, getting private and getting off grid, getting self-sufficient? You need to be able to protect yourself, learn how to protect yourself, protect your family, protect your things. And yes, we're talking about kind of pulling back, being a gray man, whatever. But as things progress, like you're pulling back, and as things progress, there's going to be times when things could get rough, right? Things could get out of control, civil wars, future civil wars, future chaos, and you having the ability to protect what's using you and yours, right? Self-sufficiency, right, means you're trying to do things without having to call somebody. If you have prepared on, how to use your weapon, how to shoot your weapon, how to safely use your weapon, and then now you're not having to call 911, or maybe there is no 911 when something comes to your doorstep, somebody comes trying to take something, whatever, you're able to handle yourself. Next thing I have is stop with the Amazon, with the food orders, you know, the Grubhubs, the Uber Eats, the grocery store orders to your door. First of all, everybody can see that. Second of all, it's major tracking, right? You're not able to buy that stuff with cash. That's all bought with card. That's all tracked. You know, I'm a regular person like you. We do grocery orders from time to time. So I have done that. I have done that recently. And so I understand how the ease of that, obviously, buying groceries, having those groceries delivered, you don't have to deal with the people and the busyness of the store, you know, and you're just busy with life. I get that. And you're like, okay, I need some milk and bread and some other stuff. Let's just have it ordered. I understand that, but that stuff's tracked. And, you know, as far as trying to pull back, you're letting everybody, those companies see and track everything you're doing, how much bread you're buying, how much milk you're buying, how much everything you're buying. Your credit card is tracking it. Everybody is getting a piece of that information, if you will, about what you did. And it was one transaction where you just got a few things, $50 worth of groceries, let's say. And now the credit card got that information, you know, the Walmart or wherever you ordered it from got that information. Any place that they are sending that information to got that information, and anybody who can hack into these systems got that information, banking information, like everything. And so it's just not a good look, right, as far as trying to back away from some things. So think about that the next time you're ordering stuff. I'm trying very, very hard to buy locally and buy with cash instead of doing Amazon. You know, I have in recent years been a huge Amazon person. You know, I don't always agree with the system and how things work, but it's so convenient. And I have absolutely been a person who is getting those thousands of Amazon boxes delivered. But we are heavily been falling back on that this last year, and really trying to say, no, yes, is it convenient, but we're being lazy. Like, we absolutely could go out locally and find what we need and then buy it with cash, okay? Next thing I have is unlock from everything smart that you can. Again, I'm not telling you to change the way you're living unless you're trying to change the way you're living. If you are trying to detach more, you're trying to get away from the AI, you're trying to get away from, you know, just the technology aspect of everything and the tracking, try to disconnect from as much smart apps, smart TVs, smart products as possible. Now, is this hard to do? Absolutely. You have TVs, tablets, cell phones, you have Alexa, all these little home things, you have all the technological security stuff, cameras, door locks, window locks. I mean, you name it. There's all types of stuff, right? It's all connected to technology, into Wi-Fi, into all this stuff. And so trying to fall back from that as much as you can is what I'm saying to do. And that's going to look different for every single family. Some people can just literally take all those things out and say, I only want old school tech, right? Low level TV, no Wi-Fi, no smart TVs, no smart tablets, right? I'm going to get a basic phone. I'm going to get a landline phone. And it's easier for them to do that. But some folks, it's not, right? Because we're so immersed into technology and it's such a part of our lives. Not just our fun life and entertainment life, but our work life, right? Look at me. I'm on social media all day long, right? And so I understand that that's going to be difficult in a lot of ways, but you do what you can do, okay? I mentioned this several times. I got rid of Facebook probably a year and a half ago, right? And I've never looked back. And I had thousands upon thousands upon thousands. I had a very large account, and I just, like that, turned it off, downloaded my pictures, got my stuff back, and let it go. And I've never looked back. I don't regret that decision at all. And listen, that was just one aspect. I still have Instagram. I still own YouTube. I still have Patreon, right? I still have these social media things where I'm connected. But that one piece, that one release to say no to that, feels good, still feels good to this day. Okay, so get rid of the smart stuff, get rid of your smart TVs if you can and if you want to, right? This isn't, you know, get rid of your $1,000 TV because Tasha said so. No, we have expensive stuff here that we're not going to just throw in the trash. But our mindset moving forward is that as things break, or as we do things, let's try to break it down a little bit low level, or maybe we're not replacing stuff, right? And we're going and doing more outside. I don't know. Okay. Turn off all the apps not needed. Now, this is a big one because so many of these apps track. I mean, obviously there's settings on your phones and stuff that you can set as far as tracking, turning it off and not having it track. It's asking you not having it track unless you're using it. Like if it's a tracking type app, like a GPS app, right? Like a running app, something like that, right? And maybe you're just using it to track you when you want it to track you. I don't know, but a lot of times, a lot of us too have options or settings on our phone where, hey, if I don't use an app for a while, it shuts itself down. But the thing is, it's still there. You still paid for money for it. Somebody's still tracking that you bought that app. You still went on a list somewhere that you bought that app. Whether you use it or not, you still have that app. It's possibly tracking you, collecting information, listening to you, whatever you want to delve deep into the rabbit hole. You know, the phone, the technology, the all the information that it gets from us, okay, in a day is bad. And so every time you're downloading stuff, it's just like watching social media. Every time you watch a video, like it doesn't matter if you don't like it, if you don't heart it, whatever, you've watched it and that information is already out there that you watched this video about, I don't know, extremists and civil war. And then you're tagged with that forever. And so it's the same thing with apps. You're tagged with that forever. And that's part of your profile, if you will, your social credit, if you will, on what you're watching, the apps you're downloading, the apps you're using. And it tells them exactly what type of person you are and how open you are to receiving certain information, receiving certain things. And so you're trying to detach, you're wanting to get away from that stuff altogether if you can. But by all means, again, getting rid of and cleaning out as much as you can, okay? And really, really watch some of these videos because there's some videos out there, very, very smart videos to show you how to work your iPhone, your Samsung, on all these secret squirrel, settings that we don't really talk about that do help you with your tracking you and all this stuff, okay? So take a look, do a little research and see how you can kind of detach from some of that stuff. Okay, so off-grid utilities rights, we're talking about stepping back, trying to do more yourself, self-sufficiency, obviously your off-grid utilities. Septic is important. One day, somebody mentioned in the comments yesterday's video about septic systems, sewer systems, and any kind of off-grid situation and sewage backup, and how are we going to deal that with our houses? And if you don't know what you're doing, that's going to back up into your house. People are going to get sick. People could possibly die. It's going to be nasty. How are you going to handle that, right? And for us, we have a septic system. I love the septic system. I'll never go back to being on some sort of sewage system. And so when I say get your utilities on off-grid, if you can. Obviously, if you don't own a piece of property, you can't just say, oh, I'm going to dig a septic system in my backyard. If you're renting, or even if you own it and you're like in the city and you're hooked up to the sewage, right? There's only so much you can do. So think about this. This kind of connects with the land. If you're looking for land, you want a septic system, an independent system that you control, you can do maintenance on, you can work on, you can correct, fix, you can then do another one if you had to totally start over. It's just totally independent and not dependent on anybody else. And that's amazing. Wells, having a well on your property, having the tools and ability to even dig shallow wells, right? But wells, and the ability to get water. This could be rain catchment. This could be cisterns. This could be ponds, pools, whatever. But where are you getting your water, and how are you getting off the grid in regards to your utilities, to not having a water bill? What are other ways you would get water? Say that water never comes. Say the bills get too high, whatever. Electricity, these $800 bills, $1,000 bills. we would not be doing that, right? So how do you get to solar? How do you get other ways of getting power? Is it a gasifier? Is it a generator? What is it, right? Is it a solar setup with solar panels, right? And an inverter and all that stuff. How are you getting off the grid as far as these utility companies and being tied into the system? How do you pull back from that, right? How do you live more of a private lifestyle where you're dependent on yourself and not other entities? Okay, next thing I have is, download and get your VPN and download, and pay for your virus type protections, right? I think it's important to have your own VPN to protect yourself just from the internet as much as you can. I mean, if you're on it, and that's a problem already. But if you're going to be on it, to have, your own VPN, to have as much protection as possible, right, is important. And so, to me, there's certain things in life that are worth the money, and having that extra protection is worth the money, right? To protect yourself as much as possible. Hackers is a thing, will continue to be a thing as we move forward more and more and more with technology, more and more with AI. You're going to see problems, and you want to be able to protect yourself as much as you possibly can if you were going to stay on the internet, right, in the first place, okay? Next thing I have is buy with cash. Talked a little bit about this earlier in the video, and that's buying cash, trying not to be tracked with everything. Now, remember, if you go to a grocery store and you're using your rewards card and you're paying with cash, they still just tracked everything you bought, right, with that rewards card. So yes, you didn't pay with a credit card, but if you're using a rewards card with your name, they're tracking that. You've given your name, your address, or whatever. They found that. Unless you're using a rewards card where you've changed the name, made up some kind of address, made up a fake phone number, right? Not your phone number, because it's tracked to you, right? That's the only way that you're going to still get those rewards, but pay cash and not be. Now, obviously, if they got you on camera buying food, whatever. But to me, it's not that serious yet. We're not to that point yet as far as tracking. Yes, are they tracking us? Sure. But is it something that's that big of a level right now? No. Okay. But that low level tracking with just basic card involvement, card tracking, your credit card, your bank statement, all that stuff, it's just too much, right? So I would just cash. That's my biggest thing. Next thing I have is raise and grow food. That's getting your animals, raising your meat, raising your dairy, getting your dairy for cheese and butter, and getting those animals that, your ducks and your chickens that are providing eggs or meat, or your turkeys that are providing the turkey for Thanksgiving. Whatever it is that the animals that you're getting, and you're raising those animals, you're learning husbandry, you're learning how to breed those animals, how to take care of those animals, and you're learning to grow food, grow your own food, grow your own fruits, vegetables. There's a lot of bad stuff going on right now with them trying to, incorporate different things into our food, you guys, into our fruits and vegetables, into our making fake foods and bioengineered foods. And this is going to get worse and worse and worse. I feel like the world is just now, maybe in the last 5 years, kind of getting smart about the bioengineered type products and foods and ingredients, and vaccines being introduced into our food. And so I think it's important that we really, really lean heavily that if you're trying to pull back, you're trying to be self-sufficient, that you are, I don't care where you are, baby, but you are working hard to get your meat from the safest place, to raise the meat if you can. If you can't raise it, you're buying local meat. You're not going to Walmart and buying meat no more. Do not stop buying meat and stuff from stores like that. Just stop it, right? You got to go local. Get local meat. Grow your fruits and vegetables, whatever it is that you can in your situation, grow, do that. If you have land, you should be planting fruit trees like nobody's business. Just fruit everywhere. Just plant. I cannot stress that enough. If you have land, you should be planting fruit trees like crazy, okay? Have some options indoors even, okay? But this is going to get dire. This is going to get important. I'm actually going to go super in depth today on Patreon in regards to vaccines, our food, the food system, mosquitoes, bioengineered mosquitoes, all this stuff today on my Patreon channel. If you want to support me in a monetary way, that's how you do it over on Patreon. I do go much deeper over there on my topics. But that's what we're going to be getting into today on today's topic. But it's super important. This is important for food preservation, getting your food preservation stuff, preserving your own food. This is important for seeds, and protecting your seeds, and seed saving your own seeds and keeping that cycle going, getting good quality heirloom seeds now that have not been doctored, that have not been modified, that are just regular seeds. Get those heirloom seeds, get them into your vaults. Be planting them, seed saved from your own fruits and vegetables, from your own harvest, and start that cycle now, right? While it's still what I would consider safe-ish to do, okay? Because in the future, it's not going to be safe. You're not going to just be able to get seeds because it's like whole circle thing. Where are those seeds coming from? Even if it's, say, a vendor that you trust, you're like, they would never ever, but like, where are they getting their original seeds? Are they 100%, seed saving, and that's what they're selling you, and they're not bringing in or incorporating anything new into the cycle? Then maybe you're safe. But I'm telling you what, it's only going to get worse with what we can trust as far as our food, okay? They are going to try to take over our food. Next thing I have is make hygiene and cleaning products, right? Make and learn how to make all the things that you could possibly get, all the things you would buy in the store, the way you pull back, the way you start to learn this self-sufficiency life is doing stuff for yourself. Point blank, doing your own projects, making your own products, stuff that you want. How could you make it yourself? We stopped buying chips and all this stuff, and it's like, okay, because of all the extra stuff, right? All the extra preservatives. But then the other day, my kid's like, hey, could you figure out how to make some Doritos? Like, just making them homemade with your, and I'm thinking like, yeah, I probably could, right? Like, I could probably find a recipe online and make some homemade Doritos, right? That are not going to have all this bioengineered extra stuff. They're not going to have all this extra stuff, right? The bad stuff that we're talking about. I'm not talking about the sugar or the salt or whatever. I'm talking about the bioengineered extra stuff, the preservative stuff, the stuff that they put in there that has nothing to do with nutrition, but it has to do with how they want the chip to look or feel, or right? And so, or last on the shelf, right? And so it's just not good. And so making your own things, making your own hygiene products, cleaning products, taking it back to holistic type stuff, making your own medicine even, right? What can you do to start doing stuff again for yourself and eliminating and depending on somebody else? Buy assets. And assets is, you could have cash. Cash is an asset. So saving cash could be gold, could be silver. To me, a huge asset of my home is preparedness items in general: food, water, meds, all the things, the fuels, the stockpile for the pets and the livestock. All of the preparedness stuff, right, is our assets, because that is the stuff that's going to assist us in the future, and that is worth everything for us, okay? So those tools, hand tools, all the things, really all the things I talked about yesterday, those are assets, okay? That list that I did yesterday, assets, right? That's important. And if you're a gold person, if you're a silver person, cool. If you cash, right? And we're, again, big cash, making sure that we have enough of that in case anything happened. But what assets can you procure and get? Animals are an asset, right? Your garden is an asset. To me, those are things. Anything extra that you've applied to your home, the septic system I just talked about, a solar system set up, a gasifier, all that stuff, projects, those are assets, okay? The chickens, right? Asset. And then the last thing I have you guys on here is learn to hunt, learn to forage. Get your books that teach you how to trap, how to hunt. Get your books that teach you how to forage, how to identify plants, how to identify insects and animals, identifying different animals, whatever it is, identifying plants, bushes, weeds, what is edible, what is not, what can be used for medicinal purpose, what part of the plant is for medicinal purpose, which part of the plants are poisonous. All of that stuff's important. So really learning how to forage and how to hunt, how to trap, how to fish. All of those things matter just for self-sufficiency as a whole, as survival as a whole, understanding how that works, how to kill an animal, how to dispatch it, how to skin it, how to skin it safely, how to butcher it. All of that stuff is very, very important, because if it's done wrong, you miss out either on possible resources that you're getting from it. You're missing out on possible meat if you miscut and cut entrails and different things like that. And so, you're possibly messing with health and somebody getting sick or actually dying. And so there's a lot of different things that could go wrong. So understanding how that whole cycle works is important, and it's a skill set, right? So get to learning those skills. and learning how to hunt and learning the importance of stuff. You know, everybody always says, hey, something bad happens for a significant amount of time with a huge amount of people, let's just say the entire United States, that will kill off everything on this planet, right? There will be no animals left. There will be nothing to hunt because everybody's going to hunt them like crazy. And it will be dog eat dog world, right? You will have the animals turn on us because they're trying to survive just as much as we are. And some of this is absolutely true, but to me, you have, it's a skill, right? The average person is not going to be able to just go out and catch a bear or go out and catch something. And just because somebody knows how to hunt does not mean that they'll survive the initial thing anyway, if they have not prepared. So it's just very, very important that it's just another skill set. It's just another thing to get in your pocket and understand and learn, because it literally could mean the difference of your family and you eating. Okay, so anyway, I babbled enough. I hope you guys had a great video yesterday. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you didn't check it out, go check it out. I gave you a whole list of different things to work on, list of ideas, things that I feel that are important. Make sure you're stockpiling, make sure you're getting done, and just keep pushing forward and getting ready. Cut out the noise, you know, pay attention to what's going on, but do not listen to other people. If people are telling you, oh, you're doing too much, you're too much, no, you push forward, you mind your business, and you start taking it private, and you start doing things in private. You start doing things where people cannot see. It's none of their business. And you start pulling back from the systems, right? That's what's important, is pulling back from this AI, this tech, these systems that they have us in, that they put us in, that we've entered into, because those are going to get worse. Unless you full-blown plan to go move forward, I mean, I don't know, then that's on you, right? But don't be crying later when it doesn't work out. So self-sufficiency, that's the name of the game. Gray man, that's the name of the game. Pulling back and being self-reliant as much as you can, right? Get yourself out of these systems. And I'll see you guys tomorrow on the next video. Actually, what's today? Friday. No, I'll see you guys Monday on the next video. Take care. Bye.